Kia ora. Welcome to the second reading this weekend from Best Small Fictions 2021. My name is Michelle Elvey. I'm the assistant editor for Best Small Fictions. It's an international series of small stories up to 1,000 words. It also includes experimental writing and prose poetry. In this reading today, you'll hear a really wonderful variety of writings from readers around the world. So I'm really looking forward to that. I also send a greeting out to everyone from the series editor, Nathan Leslie, who can't be here today, but who does tune in to most of the readings. So hello to everybody from Nathan as well. We're going to get started and just dive right in because we have some wonderful readings, and we're going to ask each reader to simply introduce themselves and say a little bit about their piece. And the readers we have with us today are Shannon Bowring, Simon Cowdroy, Leah Dottie, David Eggleton, Maria Haskins, Jenna Heller, Bill Ratner, Michelle Ross, Rosanna Staffa, and Liz Morton. And again, they're coming at us from lots of different geographies and time zones. And I think it'll be really exciting to hear what they have to say. So welcome again. Thank you for the listeners who are tuning in. And here we go. Shannon, over to you.
Thank you. I'm Shannon Bowring, and I am from Midcoast, Maine, and I'll be reading my piece, Avian Elegies, which first appeared in Water Wheel Review. This is a funny little story, one of my first forays into hybrid flash fiction, and it just kind of burst out of me one morning, which, as all we writers know, that's a rare type of magic that you have to grab while you can. So I'm very excited to read for you. Avian Elegies. Nothing about it is fair. Little darling, baby bird, smashed up, crumpled on the side of the highway, one wing detached from iridescent body, blood like the rust that collects on your grandfather's old boat, the one right now bobbing on a lake 100 miles north of here. You promised as he lay dying of rotten tumors that you'd keep her going strong, but you've never taken that boat anywhere. Little darling, baby bird. Your mother used to pluck chickens in the backyard surrounded by puddles of shit, hum Vivaldi as she wrung the scrawny necks. All that white fluff twirling in the air. You vomited on your boots, ill-fitting relics from a sister gone too soon, vanished from the farm one winter night when the stars were blue and the empty road was calling. Your father never spoke her name again. Nothing about it is fair. Alien images on a screen they turn away from you when they see the lives beneath the surface have stopped their ceaseless flutter. Little darling, baby bird. When he left, your husband took the books with glossy pages where you had circled your favorite names, Sandpiper, Starling, Siskin. You kept the other books, the ones filled with pages of his first choices, Ava, Callum, Evelyn. Nothing about it is fair. The hospital parking lot teems with seagulls fighting over half a drive-through hamburger. Over and over, the smallest gull is shoved away. You can't stand the starving look in his black eyes. It reminds you of the hollow tube of the MRI machine before you were pushed inside, where for 2 hours you lay still and compliant, holding your breath and letting it out whenever the radiologist said so in her pretty sing-song voice. Little darling, baby bird. You watch a robin outside your kitchen window, her russet belly, the white circles around her eyes, so small and bright, alive. The doctor's on the phone. His voice is sad, serious. You make a follow-up appointment to let him feel better about delivering this news on such a sunny, gorgeous afternoon. But it's an appointment you'll never keep. It's early summer, and your mother's expecting your visit. She's depended on you ever since your father took off on the same dark road your sister took so long ago. Nothing about it is fair. Your mother hasn't plucked chickens in years, but she still hums Vivaldi as she watches the metal cages in the corner of her living room, where 2 yellow cockatiels chatter all day. She used to have a conure, boasting vibrant feathers that brushed against her face when it perched on her shoulder. It died. Some sort of autoimmune disease. You spared your mother the grief of carrying its lifeless body out to the backyard. You dug a hole 6 inches deep. The plumage a rainbow underground. Little darling, baby bird, nothing about it is fair. Thank you.
That was wonderful, Shannon. Hello, everyone. My name's Simon Cowdroy, and I'm based in the Yarra Valley, which is not far from Melbourne in Australia. My short fiction first appeared in the Bath Flash Fiction Anthology, and it was runner-up in the January 2021 round. And it details the impact of a devastating drought on an outback family. The title of the piece is The Dissolution of Peter McCaffrey. Heat-ravaged rivets explode off the corrugated iron roof of our milking shed like corks from shaken champagne bottles. A long drought wind scalds in from the north, and the thermometer leaves 50 behind as pitiless gusts scour every nook of the farm. No easy pickings to be found. All that could be taken is long gone. Dad wasn't a man you made a promise to lightly. His plea for me to stay burdened with the heft of 8 generations. I crane my neck, spot his cross. Remember the soil being so unyielding, we used up all of our dynamite. There's not enough time or faith left over for funerals, so his pension check still ghosts in. I lost Annie to the highway a week back. No goodbyes, only the midnight creak of our front door, the bloom of liberated fuel as her car engine fired. Well rid of her two-faced grace, the lies that fell from those blue eyes as acid rain. But I can't seem to shake that afternoon before she left. The brutal whisper of, "Pete, we're in this together," as my tired, fractured head folded into her shoulder. Joe at the co-op rings. The water tankers aren't coming. He chews my ear about it being the start of Australia's climate change, but it sure feels to me like we're already at the end of everything. 300 cattle are all that remain, and I've enough feed to get half through next week. The cull is almost a familiar dance now. I never remember grabbing my gun. I never forget to keep a bullet in the chamber after it's done. I'm not a brave man, and if soft bovine eyes ever boiled over in accusation, it would unbind me. Turns out, their gratitude is what keeps me awake. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Leah Dottie, coming to you from Spokane, Washington. It is such a pleasure to be here. I'll be reading my flash fiction piece called Consider the Shape of Your Fist, originally published in the Master's Review. And it's an exploration of all the things that a hand shape can mean. Curl your nail beds into the meat of your palm, thumb on top. This is the letter S in American Sign Language. This is S as in stomach, where Uncle Sean's hand now goes instead of his chest when he signs me and mine. S as in scars, marking where his colon should be. As in sorry when he drags that hand, his thumb, in circles on his chest. This shape is for resting your chin when the geneticist speaks. His diagnosis is nothing new. You'd seen pictures of your uncle's infested colon already. This was only about identifying his polyposis, spread now to his lungs. This is for pulling your jacket tighter, for seeking comfort alone. You're standing in the chill of the Central Sierras, 300 miles away from all of it, in a meadow Uncle Sean loves but hasn't seen in years, waiting for the Perseids. The meteors crest over trees and draw blue trails between them. They hurtle down the creek toward the sliver of moon. You want to catch their light and bring it back to him. It's for marshmallow roasting sticks made from Oregon grape shrubs growing along the creek, just like he taught you. Pick the greenest one you can find. Cut it long, just above a knot, so it grows wild again. And for hanging the lantern on the nail his grandmother hammered into the ponderosa pine, 90 years of butterscotch sap clinging to it. For dipping towels in the creek to lay over the ice chests, keeping them cooler longer. Fists are for opening a hospital door and holding a surprise. You give your uncle something he missed, a pressed alpine shooting star from the meadow, Dodecatheon alpinum, bright purple against his pale palm. This hand is for hanging on. If you touch your fingertips to your chest and make a fist as you pull both hands away, you've signed bold, courageous, whole, like your uncle. You've also signed heal, recover, feeling well. He knows you've never handled grief well. He sets the flower on his bedside table and nests your fist in his hand. Inhale deep, your uncle signs, and imagine it floating up from your toes, through your stomach, across your collarbones. Imagine it glowing in your fist. You imagine the Perseids streaking down your arm, pooling in your hands. When you're ready, exhale, uncurl your fingers, and let it go. Thank you.
Kia ora, hello. My name is David Eagleton and I live in Dunedin, New Zealand. This vignette of mine was published in Jacket 2, online in Jacket 2, and it was a result of me living in Hawaii in 2018 on the Fulbright Creative New Zealand Pacific Riders Residency. It's called Waikiki Oahu, Red Zone, Green Zone, Blue Zone, Street Zone, Food Zone, Bed Zone, Dead Zone, as if looking round cloud 9, seventh heaven, some resort island or some slum where the poor live and dream of owning something larger than themselves. The suntanned rough sleeper sits cross-legged on his traffic island, complete with coconut palm. The bearded rough sleeper in a blanket lies flat along the bench at a bus stop. The manic pram pusher, whose baby buggy contains only a loaded boombox blasting rap music, hurries, skittering along, but stops to dole out a couple of dollar bills to each rough sleeper, fishing in a clutter of plastic bags tied to the pram handles, and the day is as dry as hot sand grains blown in from the beach 2 blocks away. The man, paralyzed from the neck down, steers his electric wheelchair onto the bus door ramp and down the street. He trundles a block or so to his busker's pitch on the boulevard next to Waikiki Beach. He stops first at a bike shop where the friendly manager helps him drape the set of small bells around his neck and over one arm that he then jiggles to make delicate music. His Stetson hat that travels on top of the canopy over his wheelchair is now on the pavement in front of him. And here is where this wheelchair-bound performer will remain all morning. His jingle of bells competing with the roar of refrigerated ice cream trucks, the clatter of open-sided tourist trolley buses, and the clamour from Sheraton hotel workers on strike further along the road, using megaphones and steadily banging on drums. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Thanks, Dave. That was beautiful. My name's Maria Haskins. I'm a Swedish-Canadian writer, and I'm reading to you today from right outside Vancouver in the Pacific Northwest. And the story I'm reading is 6 Dreams About the Train, which was first published in Flash Fiction Online. And it's a story about a catastrophe that might have already happened or hopefully won't happen. 6 Dreams About the Train. I dream about you and the train all the time. This is how it ends. There is the train, and there is you, and then there is only the train. 1. Sometimes we're on board the train together. This is my favorite dream because I'm next to you. You have the window seat, and you're sleeping. Your face bereft of all defenses, eyelids shivering with secret visions, hidden nightmares. Outside the dirty glass, the darkness unfolds itself while the train rocks us softly, like I would rock you when you were still small enough to be held. Our reflections are superimposed on the world outside, afloat, like sky and clouds in water. We are uncertain apparitions, and for a moment I fear we are nothing but reflections. Maybe there is no me, no you, no us, only these images floating across the world without being part of it. And if I were to try to touch you in that moment of dread, my hand would dip into cold water, marring what I thought was us. Then you wake up and look at me and you smile, and I know who I am again, that I am real, that you are real, that this is the world as it is supposed to be. 2. Sometimes I'm driving the train. I'm the engineer. It's night, and I'm coming down the tracks at high speed, traveling through that narrow section where the vines and bushes hang over the concrete edge from above, where the sparrows nest. You know the place. I'm used to the smell of diesel and metal, the thunk of wheels on rails, holding on to my insulated coffee mug, humming some old tune to myself. And there you are, just a kid, shoulders too slight to carry the carcass of the world stumbling along the tracks. It's as if you don't hear the train bearing down on you with all its steel and rust and rain-streaked dirt, as if you don't feel the thrum of its approach through the soles of your shoes, the rumble of it in the chill night air, rattling the spikes and sleepers, shuddering through the sharp gravel and rocks beneath you. Maybe you've got your headphones on. Maybe you're drunk or sick, or maybe you chose to walk here, knowing the train would come. When I see you, I do whatever an engineer does. I make that whistle blare, I pull the brakes, but the train is too heavy, too long. 100 cars, give or take, box cars and hoppers, center beams and tank cars carrying coal or lumber. Or maybe it's a passenger train full of people, containing all their love and their loneliness. Or maybe the cars are empty, the contents already unloaded, the spray painted graffiti on the sides of the boxcars vaguely luminous in the starlit dark. It doesn't matter. You are in front of the train, and I can't stop it. 3. Sometimes you call me in the middle of the night. Hey, you say, and the sound of your voice is a silvery thorn of suffering, like those tiny spines on a cactus that hurt even though you cannot see them, much less pull them out of your skin. Although I'm muddled with sleep, I get out of bed. Where are you, I ask, and you're silent for so long I fear you've hung up on me. I put on my clothes, fumbling for my purse and keys. My glasses fog up in the cold when I get into the car. I drive through the dark, past the 7-Eleven and across the train tracks. My car is a mess, and so am I. But there you are, waiting on the sidewalk. You don't smile when you see me, but you get in the car, and that is all that matters. When we drive away, I hear the bells clanging at the railroad crossing. 4. Sometimes I go through all the trouble of building a time machine, and I travel back to stop trains from ever being invented. But it's hard work to stop an idea when it's determined to become real. 5. Sometimes we're train robbers, you and I. Characters from an old pulpy Western. We wear snakeskin boots, faded denim, and bandanas. We rob the train. We ride away. My horse is a steady old bay. Yours is a showy blue roan. You ride so fast across the golden grass of the prairie, it makes my heart shudder to see it. Leaning low over the neck of your horse, urging it on, your long hair streaming like a banner behind you. And I know you're smiling, even though I cannot see your face because you've left me so far behind. I don't mind being left behind. You were always moving through this world with the quick grace of a sparrow's wing. We're soaring high, like a spear point piercing starlight. 6. I don't like the 6th dream. In the 6th dream, I sleep through it all, safe and warm in my own bed, unaware that you are walking the tracks. In the 6th dream, I don't see you, I don't hear you, I can't help you. Maybe you called and I didn't answer. Or maybe you never called because you thought I didn't care or love you enough to come for you when you needed me. This is how the 6th dream goes. There is the train and there is you, and then there is only the train. When I open my eyes, I can't hear the train. I still feel the thrum of it beneath my feet, but I don't know if it's approaching or receding. Standing outside your bedroom door, I listen for the sound of your voice, the shiver of your breath, the flutter of sparrow wings. Hoping you're here, hoping you'll stay, hoping we're both awake. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Maria. That was awesome. Hi, I'm Jenna Heller. I'm an American New Zealander coming to you from Christchurch, New Zealand. This piece, Walnuts, first placed on the short list of the New Zealand National Flash Fiction Day competition and then first appeared in Flash Frontier. The piece itself started from a photo prompt from Retreat West in the UK, but it also harkened back to a conversation that I'd overheard 10 years earlier after the Christchurch earthquake between a couple that had been forced to live together following the earthquake because they couldn't sell their house until the house was fully repaired. Walnuts. Not long after we agreed to separate, and you'd already packed up half your things, we found ourselves stuck because of the lockdown. Remember that? Remember how the wind howled for 2 days straight and blew all the walnuts from the trees? How we heard them pelting the fence, pummeling the lawn, cracking on the deck? How we spent the better part of a whole day collecting the stone fruit from the wet lawn and autumn leaves? It took so much longer than we expected, but what else did we have to do? Secretly, I reveled in the time outdoors, the time to achieve something, the time to do something in concert with you. It felt so different from being cooped up inside, where all we seemed to do was sigh and move into separate rooms. So there we were, the two of us stooped over, sweeping the yard like spoonbills sweep the estuary, back and forth, filling our hands before filling our buckets. And while our backs were killing us, our hands got a sort of massage from the wrinkled shells swirling in our palms. After we'd picked them all up, we sat on the deck and each held a couple, moved them around like Chinese medicine balls, feeling familiar and warm, the rhythm comforting, and we saw each other again. I mean, we really saw each other for the first time in months, like when we were young and we could look into each other's eyes forever without saying a word. Then you grabbed the mallet and smashed one, broke the spell, offered me half. Thank you.
Great, Jenna. What a pleasure to hold this volume and read along with my fellow writers. I'm Bill Ratner. I'm in Los Angeles and honored to be part of Best Small Fiction's Thank You Michelle Elvey, and thanks to Nathan and the other editors. My piece was written about 6 months into the pandemic in 2020, when we were all fearing and fantasizing and imagining what the future might be. This is called Quarantine Ride. I want a limo for this, a huge stretch limo like the one Sinatra rode in, longer than a semi. I'll stick my head out of the sunroof and breathe and sneeze from the pollen and smell Tommy's chili cheeseburgers and kimchi on 6th Street, deep fried Snickers at the LA County Fair, runners sweat, fresh rubber on racing bikes at the Venice Pier, fried catfish and brine, all in the air. I'll tap my lips so I know I'm there, massage my jaws, ball up my hand and thump my thymus where the second button of my shirt touches my sternum, and leave this morning's slog dream behind. I'll rise like a pudgy bodhisattva levitating over his cushion. I'll ignore the placards of grief. I won't acknowledge death. I'll test my fear. I'll take vitamin C, maybe a whole gram a day. I'll float like a kite blown so high I'll see yogis performing asanas on the mountaintop. At 8 o'clock, it'll still be light out. I'll hear the sound of drums and whistles, incantations, grateful cries from people's windows. I'll finger the air and float back and forth in a sky blue sack like a Malibu seal. Sirens will go off in the desert for a sale at Costco. I'll buy Dexatrim and an apple-scented room freshener, grab free paper cups of sharp cheddar cubes and soy drinks. I won't be able to sleep. I'll go take in the poppies. We'll park right by sidewalks full of people in shorts and smiles, kids eating dreamsicles, laughs echoing through the crowd. I want all this in one huge breath. Driver, don't drop me off yet. Go around real slow one more time for one more look, one more breath, so I can remember. Thank you.
Hi, loved that story, Bill, and everybody else's so far too. Mine is also a pandemic story. This is written probably in the first several months of the pandemic. I imagine inspired by all the empty shelves in the grocery stores. This was originally published in Wigleaf. Oh, and I'm Michelle Ross. I didn't introduce myself. All right, this is called Cake or Pie. Rhoda's husband, Don, says maybe he should put out an ad seeking a partner better suited to life in the end of days. This is after he comes home with a trunk full of dry beans and rice, and after Rhoda says she would wither and die on a diet of dry beans and rice. What about butter and flour and sugar and eggs? If I'm going to hunker down and hide, I need pastries. I need coffee and wine. Otherwise, what's the incentive to staying alive? And after Don says, the incentive is survival. Also, what if the power goes out? The butter will become rancid. The oven will be useless. And after Rhoda says, but what if the power doesn't go out and we suffer needlessly? And after Don gives her an exasperated look and says, there's no baking and doomsday prepping. Rhoda's problem, according to Don, is she's governed by appetite, and appetite is fickle. She's unpredictable even to herself. They'll go out to their favorite Italian restaurant because Rhoda wants ravioli, but once there, she'll deliberate for 15 minutes over the veal marsala, the chicken saltimbocca, and whatever special the waiter describes with what Don considers to be overly precious words. As Don stacks the dry beans and rice next to his other stores, hefty bags of oats, a vat of peanut butter, stacked boxes of saltine crackers, he says to Rhoda, "You want too much." Rhoda considers all that Don wants. She envisions Dawn scrutinizing prospective end-of-days partners' resumes for inconsistencies. Says here, you're detail-oriented, yet the next line is missing a period and responsible is spelled with an A. She pictures him sitting across from these women, engaging how matter-of-factly they look him in the eye when answering his questions, whether they fidget their hands, tug at the waist of their jeans to tuck in bits of belly that would otherwise poof out like pillows from clumsily made beds. He will be looking for someone without impulses to restrain or hide, but also someone who would be good at hiding when the world comes to that, as Dawn believes it will. Someone who can keep still and keep her mouth shut whole days. Someone whose someone whose desires are discreet. Someone easily satisfied. Or maybe someone for whom satisfaction is not necessary, for whom survival is enough. Rhoda imagines his first interview question will be cake or pie. If the candidate says cake or pie, she's out because the right answer is neither. The right answer is that sugar has no nutritional value. The right answer is sweetness is non-essential. But Rhoda thinks the look on Don's face as he talks about what he still needs to purchase for their pantry and what he needs in a partner in these times resembles that of a child anticipating the tinkling music of an ice cream truck. One who doesn't speak the language of doomsday prep might think frugality and practicality and going without mean compote and cream and toasted meringue. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Rosanna Staffa. I'm Italian. I live in Minneapolis. I thank Michelle and Nathan for inviting me, all of you, to be here. My story is Animal with Wings. It was originally in Gargoyle magazine. It came from walking at night by an office building and where was a lit window and I could see shadows. At night, she cleaned the offices of a law firm that mostly dealt with divorce. She was glad she never married. She found scribbled notes of what the divorcees said on the phone, the rage, threats, tears, too loud, even on a piece of paper. On the desks, she could pick at photos of what remained of the marriages, cars, children, beach houses. She wanted to drive the cars to the beach houses. She would lift up arm and wave to the kids waiting. She found herself dressing for it sometimes, a new blouse, sandals with a buckle. Each desk was slightly unkempt in a cozy way. The broken pencils, the twisted metal clips, the torn post-it waited for her every night. She picked up the plastic cups with remnants of coffee, holding them to her chest for a moment. She imagined conversations. She rushed through bitter arguments with the lawyer, her voice louder and more confident than she knew it. Mostly she refused these and that. Whatever was offered was too small. She paused and looked out the window, leaning on her mop, fixed her gaze on the tall building across the street, the small balcony crammed with plastic toys. They seemed to glisten in the light from the street lamps. In the hallway, she glanced at herself in the mirror, her eyes alert, like with a stranger. Age was a kind of disfigurement, she thought. For an instant, she saw herself as before, back when she used to go out in the evening on weekends, to a movie and bar afterward. Sometimes she had a drink with a girlfriend and they laughed out loud. Marcos, the other office cleaner, was much younger, made calls from the office phones, careful that it was not too often. Sometimes he fell asleep, curled up on the leather couch in the meeting room. He told her the dinosaur had wings, and he was pretty sure humans did too. That was what made us all suffer melancholia. That's why he had pain between his shoulder blades, at the soft spot where the wings used to be. She told him that her doctor wanted her to take many tests for her problem. She had no pain and much less a doctor, but that was the one story Marcos paid attention to. He liked that she said that when lying in bed at night, she had a cough that stiffened her neck and arched her back like an upside-down cat stretching. He liked it when she said that. He was never tired of it. Marcos was done sweeping, and she carried the garbage bag to a large blue bin. They were not standing side by side in front of the mirror in the hallway. Mirrors, she said, can be used forever by the same person and keep nothing at all. Nothing. That sounds good. Marcos smiled. At that moment, one eye half closed, long fingers lazily combing his hair. He looked weathered. Looking tired made him almost handsome. She wanted to take his reflection out of the mirror, like a picture from a frame, and put it away in her pocket. We are in a spaceship here, he said, looking outside. They were working at the highest floor, surrounded by the sky. He moved his arms like floating. No gravity, watch. It did look like he was flying away like a pterodactyl. Look at my wings, so strong. Marcos always spoke of going back to Guatemala. The smell of the streets, the taste of the food. He wanted to be a bird and fly back. He wanted his wings again. He made the shriek of a prehistoric animal running around the office. Sometimes he reached to take a hand, and they made a couple of silly dance steps. They laughed. Marcos became a little monkey in her dreams. When he jumped down to her on the bed, he became a man again, making love with little grunts. Sometimes, on leaving the house, she imagined turning at the door to remind Marcos to feed the dog and check the water bowl to see that it had enough. She said it twice to make sure, as he was young. She had no dog, and Marcos was not sitting in front of her tiny TV. But still, she heard him say, okay, and saw him rise to do as asked. First, he pulled her to him like a dancer for one last hug before she went.
Thank you, Rosanna. That was brilliant. I'm Liz Morton, and I'm thrilled to be here amongst you lot because there are some fabulous stories. I'm going to read you a fragmentary yarn and poetry about what it is to have a body in a difficult world, and it's called Fractures. 1. She holds her fist like a bird. The knuckle bones rattle. If she opens the window, she might fly over the vegetable garden and over the gorse hedge and over street lamps and Jim's house and the school swimming pool, which smells like fear. But flight is a coward's noun. Her good hand is an anchor. It holds to arithmetic and furniture, swing sets and stars. She is grayscale. She chews the nib of the graphite pencil. It's broken. It is what it is. 2. They counted backwards from 10. Here we come, they said, and ran like ponies. She hid in the wash house between the tub and the electric dryer. She was prey and in consequence, a small leaf blowing through a stampede. 3. What is the place between the filament and the light? It is the girl. She holds her photoreceptors like she holds her heart, loosely. She likes to think it could slip through her fingers. 4. The girl is big-boned. The doctor said if she were small, she might have disappeared, might have turned ghost, or a crustacean that you can see through, the gut bits and the nerves. The girl wears her bones like a badge. Look, she says, and animals size her up. She is too big to swallow. 5. There are breaks that chart a history of sorrow. She is broken in 11 places. Her collapsed lung and split spleen, her ribs, her lumbar, her small hope. What do you want to be when you grow up? Says the nurse. And the girl says, whole. I want to be whole. 6. How many times can it hit her? She counts the blows in twos, like it's as simple as mathematics. 7. There are animals, and then there are animals. The girl is a runner. In her dreams, she is a colt in the starting stalls, a wind-back toy. She knows the 100-meter sprint like it is her body. She sleeps with her sneakers on. She is ready, always ready. The nurse with the face like sunshine says she needs to slow down, to breathe from the belly, to think of her toes. 8. The girl with the big bones does timetables in the shower. She catches herself in the mirror and spells her disgust in 11 times 9. She grabs at the flesh and wishes it away. Collateral meat, ground bait for sharks. The girl can doggy paddle or breaststroke, but it's not enough. She is a landlubber. The girl is not a girl to the predator below the surface, whose gum eye she cannot meet. 9. But this is not about water. 10. This is about the love that lurks in corners. The girl is sutured together with strings that action her like a puppet. The nurse says, this will not hurt, and for the first time it doesn't. The girl wants to go home in the nurse's handbag. She wants to fold into a wallet or lie straight inside the cigarette tin. But the girl is big-boned. She will not fit. 11. The movie ends with the girl running into the sunset. She is running to give you a happy ending. She runs past the dairy and the fruit shop and dry fields of maize. If you wait the credits out, you can see her rise up and up. It's like the dream, but better, thinner, less. Thanks.
Well, thank you, Liz. And thanks to everyone. That concludes the reading. Really beautiful work from everyone. I love how you can get 10 readers in a room and we end up with such incredible variety and the change in voice and the perceptions and the depth that we heard today. So a really big thanks to everyone for making the time on your Saturday evening or afternoon or on your Sunday midday. And thanks to all of our listeners. We look forward to more readings from Best Small Fictions and enjoy your day. Bye-bye.